Hey there guys, what's going on? How are you doing? This is Wiggle speaking, and today we're going to start off a new playlist called The Killer's Kindergarten, which in this playlist I'm going to cover every single killer in Dead by Daylight and teach you the basics of it, how to play them, and what you basically should do. I will leave timestamps so that you can skip to the parts that you need. Things that we're going to cover will be the base strategy, what you should do with this killer, what is his power, what are the things that bother them the most? The counterplays to them, and their ultimate build, perk build, which would be crazy good. Um, the base build, considering that you have no teachable perks from no other killer, just the base perks and the perks of this killer itself, and also some of their add-ons, how useful they are, and things like that. So for that reason, make sure to stick around for the whole video, subscribe, leave a like, and maybe a comment. Tell me about your opinion, and basically, what you should do is to enjoy the video.
Oh, the habits of my heart, I can't say no. It's ripping me apart.
So we're starting off with my favorite killer, the Trapper. Now, what does Trapper have? What does he have when, what does he have going for him when the game starts? Nothing. Basically nothing. When the game starts, Trapper has shit to work with. Basically, and this is coming out, basically I'm considering the new update, the mid-chapter update has been live. This is for that guide because they have already said that they're going to give him a buff, which causes him to have two traps on base kit, which is absolutely amazing, something that Trapper deserved for a long, long time. With that in mind, what does a trapper have when the game starts? Basically, the trapper has to set up a couple of traps before the game goes on. So, what one thing that would be very, very awesome for trapper would be that DBD would be like some kind of a Rainbow Six kind of thing. The trapper would be a defender and had a 30-second before the game starts to set up some traps and then start the game. Unfortunately, that's not an option. So when the game starts, you have to pick up some traps. If you have a bag add-on, of course. If you don't, you only have one trap. Let's say two traps now with the update. You have to set up a couple of traps. Now, this has to be your basic strategy. Now, where to put traps is a whole different story, but for the most part, don't make them super duper obvious because they're not all that hard to disarm. They're really, really easy. And you shouldn't put them in most obvious places. Sometimes creativity wins you some matches, but still, grass is your best shot to hide your traps in and just keep them there. And it's a very, very good idea to just keep doing that. I see more often than not people put their traps in front of a vault or a pallet or something like that. There are two problems with that. First, they're very, very predictable. Survivors will more often than not know that. You have to put traps in such a way that in or out of chase, still survivors have a chance to go into them. They're so unexpected and invisible to them that they can't just avoid. Traps on pallets and vaults only help you in chases, and if they help you in chases. And there is one more problem with traps on the pallets is that, and also for the windows too, for the pallets is that when the survivors realize that your trap is misplaced, they can just simply drop the pallet onto it and then just vault over it. And now your trap is absolutely useless. Also, if they're injured, they can dead hard through your trap because it's so obvious and they know there is a trap there, they can just easily dead hard through it. But if they don't, if they won't be able to see it like it's in grass, why would they dead hard? They have no idea where is the trap. And also for Windows, the hitbox is a little bit weird. So let's say you have a trap here under the vault, and the vault is here. They will go into a trap, but if you misplace it and put it too close to the wall, there is a good chance that survivors just jump right off it. If they go for a slow vault or a medium vault, of course they will be caught, but a running vault will more often than not save them. So it's not a good idea to hide them under the pallets and vaults. The best places are in grass, especially in outdoor maps. I know there are some indoor maps that have no grass at all, and those maps are the maps that Trapper gets hurt the most. But still, there are add-ons that can help you make your bird traps a little bit darker, harder to spot. And still, if you put, let's say there is a pallet here, this is a good loop. Don't put the trap under the pallet. It's super obvious. Put it on a corner that survivors won't expect. Um, as a good trapper, you have to check out the point of view of the survivor. You know, basically predict. Okay, let's say they come from this angle. What would they see when they turn? Probably nothing, because they're paying attention to the environment. They might be caught. So basically, you have to hide your traps. And when the game starts, you have to just put a couple of traps. Don't waste your whole life setting traps, especially if you don't have the perks that slow down the game for you. Just a couple of traps, and then go into some chases. Try to finish a chase real quick, and then push the survivors into your territory. This will help you quite a lot. That if they go in there and they get caught, your chases will be super quick, and you will make up for the fact that you have wasted a lot of time setting traps. Not wasted, but still, it's time and you haven't done anything basically. Just some traps. They may work, they may not. They might be, um, I don't know, disarmed for the as much as you know. What are the things that hurt Trapper the most? The first one is the rainbow map. Rainbow map causes your traps to be revealed to the survivor who is carrying it in an 8 meter radius. This is very, very bad for you because survivor is out of chase. They can just hold the map for a fraction of a second and then see that you have a trap in the grass. Basically any suspicious grass that they think there might be a trap in, they just can't check it out without even risking it. So that's super good for them. This is something that hurts your trapper quite a lot. The other thing is dead hard. Survivors can dead hard through a trap, which is horrible. Let's say you're in a chase and a survivor dead hards through a trap, and that trap is in a dead end, which means that you cannot go from both sides. This was a block. So now you have to go out of your way, pick up your own trap, and then continue the chasing. You lost the trap and probably a lot of distance. This is just downright horrible. It's just not right. Doesn't seem right in my opinion. And the next thing is that survivors, when they're healthy, if they go into a trap, they get injured, which is okay, which is very good. But when they're injured and they go into a trap, there seems to be no penalty for that. So if you're unlucky, this is really, really sad, but if you're unlucky and survivors go into a trap and get out in first time, it's actually faster than disarming it, which is complete nonsense. So if they come out in the first try and they're injured, they suffer no consequence. They actually save some time. It's like they're getting rewarded for being blind and not seeing your trap or being tricked by you. So this is really, really horrible. Also, your traps can be disarmed real quick. And also, keep in mind, if a survivor is in mid animation of disarming your trap, starting of it, mid, I don't care, just in the animation of disarming your traps cannot be triggered. This means that if you're chasing a survivor, let's say in the shack, and you have a trap on the shack pallet, and the window is blocked for some reason, you have bamboozle or something, I don't know. And then you're like, okay, this guy's caught. Absolutely 100%. And then you see another survivor holding the trap down in the animation. This means that the other survivor can go through it with nothing, with no problem. You can also go through it, but they can always leave the trap and then you will be caught instead. If you get caught in your own trap, you will reset it, but it will waste a lot of time. It will gain a global notification. You will be super embarrassed. There are a lot of things that counter Trapper, and he's really, really hard to get used to. But let me tell you this, the outcome is just absolutely fantastic. And it feels real nice. I really love playing Trapper just for the sole fact that you can predict survivors before the game even starts. And that's just wonderful. That's just downright wonderful. I love that. But let's get to the build. Now, What we have for the trapper as a base kit trapper, let's say you have no perks, nothing going on for you, just trapper's perks and the base kit of the game. Now the perks that we have here are agitation, which is his own uh, personal perk, brutal strength, sloppy butcher, and whispers. Now, what is the philosophy behind this build? Three of them basically saved you some time, and that's it for the most part. Just trying to make up for the fact that you are going to, lose a huge amount of time in the beginning of the game. The problem with Trapper is basically that he has to waste a lot of time, the time that he cannot afford. That's a problem. So we are trying to make up for that fact. Agitation will cause you to run faster while carrying a survivor. This causes you to save a lot of time, hook survivors quicker, maybe do some crazy plays. Um, I have done survivor. I have made survivors panic and go and step into one of my traps because I was so fast while carrying a survivor. Brutal strength, maybe not by every break you make, but in the long run, it will save you quite a lot of time, especially with the fact that the Trapper gets hurt by pallets a lot. And breaking them real quick will save you a lot of time. And Sloppy Butcher, which also causes them to heal slower. This will also save you a lot of time, which is really good. And also Whispers, which I think is one of the best perks in the game, hands down. It's wonderful, and it's a very, very good information perk. It helps you quite a lot throughout the game. There are some other options that I wanted to mention. God forbid, if you ever wanted to use Know It on Trapper, it could be actually a good option because Trapper is a late game kind of a killer. Usually, you need to get used to the fact that by the time that you chase one of the survivors and down them, you're going to lose a couple of gens. And usually, more often than not, when you have like four hooks, four gens have already popped. And by this time, you need to have a real good set of traps and some good gens to defend to win the game. So at this point, you might want to consider Know It, because maybe just for a backup plan, if things go wrong, if things go sideways, you can always use Know It. It's completely fine. It's a good option for Trapper because he's, like for, I don't know, let's say a nurse, this is a very bad option because you should basically finish the game in the game. But let's say that the game went bad and you're a Trapper, so go for it by all means. Another trap perk that I had in mind for Trapper was Iron Grasp. This would be a great combo with Agitation because you can basically turn every single down to a basement hook. And Trapper is a wonderful basement keeper. He's just wonderful. He's guarding his abilities just fits right up, right to the profile. It's very good. You can do that, and it's a good option more often than not. But the first build, as I said, is the best one, hands down, for the base perks. And also, you can do this kind of a mimicky thing, which is not a very good idea, uh, using distressing, agitation, and unnerving presence. Maybe in lower ranks, you will cause survivors to miss a couple of skill checks, which is good. And unnerving presence is not a very crazy perk, but still, it's not a horrible one. You can go for it by all means. But let's say you have access to the perks in the game and you want to make a perfect build for the Trapper. Now, the first thing you need will be Corrupt Intervention, the best perk hands down for the Trapper. This perk blocks three furthest generators from your spawn, and buys you know a massive amount of time for you. This makes the survivors not to be able to immediately hop on a gen, immediately use their toolboxes, gives you some time. Even if you set up one trap and another one and it's going to chase, there is a good chance to stop a generator from being done, which is wonderful. Very nice. And it buys you quite a lot of time. It's just downright very interesting for the trapper. Perfect choice. The next perk that I have in mind is No Way Out. This is a new perk who came with the Trickster. It had a couple of tweaks, and now I think it's one of the best perks in the game. If you manage to hook 4 survivors, all of them unique perks, unique hooks, uh, the exit gates will be blocked for 60 seconds once a survivor interacts with them. This is perfect for Trapper. In the end game situation, you might have killed a couple of survivors, maybe one or two, and one of them is on the death hook, and now you're in a great spot. But now they're separated, and you have no idea where they are, and they're going to just leave. But you have no way out. This will save you a lot of time. Catches them off guard. They will be stuck in the game, and it will be just perfect for you. And then at this point, you can just pick up 2 traps and set them under the exit gates. This might cause leaving to be an absolute just impossibility. There's no way they can get out. It's perfect. Actually, there is no way out. There is no way out. Another perk that is very good in my opinion is Save the Best for Last, because Trapper is an M1 killer. And also, there's a little trick that you can pull off with Trapper is to catch your obsession in the trap. And by this, you can just basically pick them up and go for it. You will lose 0 stacks, and if you manage, you can just keep your stacks, 8 stacks in the game, as you will be a massive looping machine and just kill survivors. It was just wonderful. And the last one, which is an obvious choice, is Pop Goes the Weasel, because you obviously need something to slow down the game to control and make pressure be applied to the to the generators, especially because of the fact that you will lose a couple of gens, and now you have like 12 pops potentially to apply to like 2 gens, and this is just perfect for you. You can just keep popping them, pop. This will cause the game to be stalled for a long time, especially because of the fact that you have traps. Your chases should be really short, and now you can just easily apply pop to every single gen that you have. There are a couple of other builds that I had in mind for the Trapper. One of them is to use a Starstruck and Agitation, which is very nice in my opinion. And also you can add this up with Haunted Grounds. This will cause survivors to be under a lot of pressure, and more often than not, they will make a very stupid play, just go into a trap because their panic is super duper much. Also, Haunted Ground, why is it good on Trapper? I'll tell you why. You can just easily put a trap under the hex and it will be irresistible. Survivors will more often than not just cleanse it because they think this is an important one. This is probably Hex Devour Hope or something. They will easily just do it, and also you can time it in a way that by the time they finish it, you will be in a chase. Let's give you an example. You hear the trap closes, so it's disarmed. Now, you know somebody is going to cleanse your Hex Totem. Cleansing a Hex Totem will take about 15 seconds. Of course, if they don't have Counterforce, then you're in a bad spot. You can be in a chase and then count 15, 14. By the time you get 3, just get real close to that survivor, don't hit them. Get real close. 3, 2, 1. Exposed, 1 hit. Easy chase. Just wonderful, right off the bat. It's very good for you, and also you can apply a lot of pressure in that time. So this exposed build is also very interesting for him, and by all means you can go for it. Now, enough with the build. Let's go for the add-ons. There's a couple of his add-ons that I wanted to mention are basically because of the fact that they're adding one more trap to his base kit. He's in a very wonderful spot now. You don't have to. You're not obligated to basically take a bag to every single goddamn game. So now you have a couple of more options. One of them that I wanted to mention are Tar Bottle and the Logwood Die. Both of these add-ons cause the traps to be darker a little bit. This can be wonderful in some dark maps and some maps that are just traps are not easy to see. Even in indoor maps that there are no grass, these traps are really hard to spot. So these are just wonderful, and by all means, I really recommend you to go for them. Tar Bottle is just perfect. Holding Stone. This causes the survivor who is in the trap go into a dying state if they free themselves, not by another survivor, free themselves. This is actually good, but honestly, I think this should be basic. It makes no sense. Fastening tools, they're just setting tools causes you to set traps faster. It can save you quite a lot of time, especially in some loops. Survivors think that you will take a lot of time, and they will just leave the loop. You will start setting a trap, and they're like, "Okay, he's wasting a lot of time. I will make some distance," but they won't make any distance because you will set the trap super quickly. His red add-ons are the iridescent stone that causes a random bear trap to be set by itself in a random position. It might be the trap that survivors just got disarmed, or a complete random uh, trap on the other side of the map. For this reason, it's not a wonderful one, but sometimes it just comes in clutch. And also the bloody coil. When you are disarming a trap and it takes a little bit longer than it should, this could be an alarm for bloody coil, which causes you to go injured from healthy state, only healthy to injured, not injured to down, lose one health state if you're healthy when you disarm a trap. This is also not crazy, but it's something to keep in mind. Overall, Trapper is not the greatest one in the game, but it's very, very fun when you give enough love to him. And um, that's it, I think, for this video. And make sure to leave a comment, tell me about what you think about this video. Thank you so much, you all, for watching, and have a nice one.